There are 7 Stacy books that I gave a score, which is 4 out of 10 or lower. So here are my choices for the 7 worst Stacy books in the Babysitters Club series. Number 7, Staceys Choice. Stacy's mom gets pneumonia at the same time her dad gets a promotion. She has to choose if she'll stay at home with mom or if she'll go to dad's promotion party. She originally picks mom, but dad guilt trips her into going with him. The trip to dad is a huge disaster, and things aren't much better at home because Stacy messed up the nursing schedule. Stacy learns she shouldn't try to please everyone all the time. This book isn't bad as much as it is bland and generic. It's the 3rd divorce book for Stacy, and it's worse than the other 2. It's one of the books in the series which I read and immediately forgot about. It left no impact. Besides for a continuity error, where Stacy says Mary Ann's mom comes to visit, she came back from the dead? Ah! Number 6, The Truth About Stacy. Oh wow, I didn't like Stacy's first book? That's a surprise. I thought I really liked that book, sorry. Well, it looks like when I first read it, I was disappointed by her narration. I was expecting a cool, sophisticated narrator. Instead, we get a girl who's easily pushed around. Stacy's parents are incredibly worried about her diabetes. Her best friend is mad Stacy didn't tell her about the diabetes. These stories would have worked if the book took place when Stacy first got diabetes, but it's been 6 months since then, and Stacy's diabetes are under control. So why is everybody acting like it's a brand new thing? The main story is a drawn-out rivalry between the Babysitters Club and a group of older girls named the Babysitters Agency. This is a good idea for a story, but it wasn't well executed. The babysitters come across as pretty immature and stupid. Like, they trust the villain's best friend to help them out. Really? They eventually defeat the villains by tattletaling on them. In real life, the agency would fire the one bad babysitter. They wouldn't shut down their entire organization. Number 5, Stacy and the Mystery at the Empty House. The title kind of explains the book's problem. Stacy's at an empty house. There are no characters for her to interact with, and nothing for her to do. As a result, the book is pretty slow and drawn out. Stacy visits the house every day to take a dog for walks. She notices strange things, like chewed up papers and a glass in the sink. The book spends a full chapter describing her discovery of a glass in a sink. That's how slow and boring this book is. Most of the book is Stacy getting scared over these things. There are at least 10 incidents. Half the time, she realizes it's the dog's fault and she's getting scared over nothing. Although Stacy accuses 2 unnamed strangers, there aren't any real suspects, and that's never a good sign when your mystery novel has no suspects. In the end, it's revealed the culprit is a guy who was never mentioned before. He thinks it's okay to live in someone else's house without their knowledge or consent. Weird. Number 4, Stacy's Big Crush. Stacy falls in love with her 22-year-old math teacher. She thinks he's so gorgeous. She wants to date him. She hangs out with him after school and writes him a love poem. The entire story is creepy and wrong, and I hate it. She spends the book insisting it's true love. He tries to let her down gently by saying she's attractive and he likes her, but she's too young. Needless to say, it's not making things better when the grown man calls an 8th grader attractive. That's just creepy and wrong. Terrible book. Another reason to dislike this book is that it officially ends the relationship between Stacy and Sam Thomas. Stacy and Sam were a good couple, and I have a hot math teacher is a terrible reason for them to break up. 6 chapters of the book are about a goat named Elvira. That was really weird, but I'd rather read about a random goat than the creepy math teacher. Number 3, Stacy's Secret Friend. There's a new girl named Tess who talks a little funny and wears weird clothes. Everyone's mean to her, including Stacy. Stacy thinks insulting things about Tess, and she has to stop herself from laughing when someone says Tess looks like a pig. Stacy tries to help Tess become more popular, which could have worked, except Stacy's a jerk who interrupts Tess and bosses her around. Stacy's unable to stop people from being mean to Tess. The bullying gets worse and worse until so many people throw hot dogs at Tess, she falls off some bleachers and is hospitalized. It's like they were trying to murder her. Tess accuses Stacy of being a terrible friend who never cared about her, which is true. Stacy is shocked to learn that Tess's weird sense of style is actually the height of fashion in France. Number 2, goodbye, Stacy. Goodbye. Stacy's family is moving back to New York. They have a yard sale. Stacy says goodbye to everyone. There's a farewell party where she says goodbye to everyone. There's a club meeting where she says goodbye to everyone. That's the book. There's no real story. It's everyone being sad that Stacy has to leave and she says goodbye over and over and over. A third of the book is random babysitting adventures that have nothing to do with Stacy, like a chapter where Christy makes lemonade. I know it's sad that Stacy's moving away, but that doesn't excuse the lack of plot in this book. Number 1, Staceys Mistake. This is one of those books which feels like it was written by a different author, because everyone acts differently. Stacy's now a New York snob who hates people from out of state. This includes the Babysitters Club members. They've come to town for the weekend. Stacy gets mad at them for things that aren't their fault. Like, she's mad they brought luggage with them. Well, they're going out of state for multiple days. Of course they have luggage. She also gets mad they don't know where things are. But how could they? It's the first time they've been here. Did Stacy expect them to memorize a map of every location in the city before arriving? She spends half the book getting mad at her tourist friends for being tourists. She spends the other half of the book taking them to tourist destinations, like the park and the museum. So Stacy hates them for being tourists while encouraging them to be tourists. The club members also act weird. Dawn is the most mature member of the Babysitters Club. Here, she's frightened of everything. She's scared of elevators, so she has to use an escalator. But she doesn't know how escalators work, so she falls down and hurts herself. It's weird. The author knows that elevators exist outside of New York City, right? Marianne becomes a know-it-all jerk who tells mean gossip. Claudia gets into a fight with the New York kids, and she steals the boy that Christy likes. Christy is loud and annoying. It's a book where nobody acts like their normal selves. They act like huge jerks the whole time, and it's unpleasant to read. It would be way better if the characters acted like their normal selves. Those are my choices for the worst Stacy books. I also made a video of the best Stacy books. There are 9 of the good Stacy books, so she has more good books than bad books.